On this episode of Cape Media News, we speak with the Mass Cannabis Business Association to learn about cannabis delivery drivers. The Family Pantry of Cape Cod adapts to COVID-19 in Harwich, and we go inside the second annual Great Cape Turkey Takeout. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. This is Cape Media News, your local authentic newscast for Cape Cod. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Thank you for being here. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown no signs of slowing down. As many people know, coronavirus is so easy to spread because so many people don't even know they have it until it's too late. To help slow the spread, the Community Health Center of Cape Cod is offering asymptomatic COVID-19 testing at their Falmouth and Mashpee offices. The tests are being offered in response to an increased demand from the community, many of whom are concerned about the approaching holidays. To learn more about the Community Health Center of Cape Cod's asymptomatic COVID-19 testing program, visit chcofcapecod.org. 'Tis the season to shop till you drop. With Black Friday and Christmas fast approaching, many people are already tackling their holiday shopping lists. But according to Amanda Converse, CEO of Love Live Local, now more than ever, it's important to shop local. To help Cape Codders find the perfect gifts this season, Love Live Local is offering their first ever Love Live Local Holiday Edition online, so Cape Codders can help stimulate the economy and show some love to the small businesses that have been hit so hard during these unprecedented times. The Love Live Local holiday event runs December 5th through December 12th and can be found online at lovelivelocal.com. Well, Thanksgiving is less than a week away, and many people have already begun to hang their Christmas lights. Although these decorations are festive and charming, string lights can be a nuisance to landfills by tangling machines and not degrading properly over time. That's why Carrie Parcell, Regional Waste Reduction Coordinator for the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension, has created a Holiday Lights recycling program. From now until January 15th, every transfer station on Cape Cod will have a bin to collect unusable string lights to prevent them from ending up in the garbage. Emily Tulloch reports.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Emily Tulloch. Our guest today is Carrie Parcell, Regional Waste Reduction Coordinator for the Cape Cod Cooperative Extension. Ms. Parcell is hosting a Holiday Lights recycling collection from November to January, and she will be discussing the details with us today. How are you doing?
Thank you, Emily, for having me, and I'm doing very well, and I'm excited that we're able to continue this tradition.
Yes, great to hear. So before we get into the actual Holiday Lights recycling collection, can you tell us what happens if we dispose of our holiday lights in the garbage? We just throw them away instead of recycling them?
Sure. So even though Christmas lights, I guess, are safe to put in the trash, it is an e-waste item because it's electronic. You have to plug them in to make them work. Otherwise, I'm sure there are battery LED type Christmas lights, but again, those batteries carry like lithium and other dangerous materials in them. So we really want to divert them from the trash. So if they go into a landfill, they're just going to sit there like everything else. It's going to get compounded and it's going to take forever to, degrade because they'll never really biodegrade. If they go to a waste to energy facility, like a lot of the Cape's trash, it winds up in these shredders. And if you imagine, they're going to tangle. Just like if you were to put Christmas lights in your recycling bin and you take it to a sorting facility, if you imagine there's a lot of conveyor belts and chopping and, moving parts, and though we call them tanglers because it's really going to screw up the equipment. So it's a really, really great idea to take them out of the recycling bin, do not put them in your trash can, and to save them and take them to a drop-off location where I can pick them up for them for free and take them to a vendor to be recycled.
So can you tell us a little bit about your lights collection program? Where can our viewers across Cape Cod drop off their old lights if they're keeping them, if they're broken, if they don't work? And when does this program run until?
Sure. So I started collecting last Friday on November 13th. And the transfer stations can call me when their collection bins are full and I'll come and pick them up through January 15th. You can take it to any of your town's drop-off, even if you don't have a recycling sticker, but please don't take anything other than your Christmas lights if you plan on doing that, if you do not have a sticker, because even though this service is free and a lot of the services at the transfer stations are free, the services themselves are not free. Somebody somewhere is paying for that. So be respectful, but you can show up and say, hey, I'm here for the Christmas lights program, and they will take those strand lights off your hands. The other thing I want to encourage is reuse. So maybe you don't want those lights anymore, or they're old, or you're changing your decor. Consider sending them out for reuse by donating them or taking them to a swap shop, or exchange it, with friends or family.
So when we recycle our lights, where are they going? What's going to happen to them after we have gotten rid of them?
Yeah, so we're partnering with a third-party vendor for I believe it's our 4th year in a row. He's out of Hyannis. It's Fiera Iron and Metal Scrap, and or metal Fiera Iron and Metal Works, perhaps. So Tim Fiera has graciously agreed to take those off of our hands. And what happens is they actually strip the plastic lighting off of there, and they take the metals inside, and then those get smelted and melted down into new metals for new electronics. So the whole, not every single bit of a Christmas light strand is going to see the recycling, but the way that it strips, it actually produces it produces a real high quality recyclable, because metals, especially the type of metals in those strands lights, are desirable to the recycling market.
Ms. Parcell, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're very welcome, and I'm sure you'll put up my contact information if anybody has any questions. And again, don't put them in your recycling bin either. Divert them from both the trash and the recycling bin and drop them off at the transfer station for yours truly to come and pick them up.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and happy holidays to you.
You as well, Emily. Thank you.
For Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tellick.
If you'd like to learn more about the Holiday Lights Recycling Program, visit CapeCodExtension.org. Up next, Family Pantry of Cape Cod adapts to COVID-19.
People in Massachusetts are asking what they can do to help stop the spread of the virus. Our response? Answer the call.
Hello? Thanks for calling. I've been worried.
Thanks. Now I know what to do.
Through what's called contact tracing, the MA COVID team will be reaching out to everyone who's tested positive for coronavirus or who has been exposed. Look out for area codes 833 or 857 and answer the call to keep your community safe. Visit mass.gov/MA Tracing Team.
The Family Pantry of Cape Cod is a nonprofit dedicated to feeding the community. Through a partnership with the Greater Food Bank of Boston, the Family Pantry serves more than 10,000 people a year. But the pandemic has forced them to change how they get food into the hands of the people they serve. I met with Executive Director Christine Menard to learn more about how the Family Pantry has adapted to COVID-19. Cape Media News reports. Are you or is someone you know in need of food? The Family Pantry of Cape Cod wants to help.
The Family Pantry is the largest pantry on the Cape, and there's no geographical restrictions. So, basically, right now, especially during the pandemic, we've removed any of the barriers to entry. So anybody can come here if they are in need.
The Family Pantry offers a very simple registration process to anyone in need of food, regardless of where they live on Cape Cod.
There is no documentation required right now because of the pandemic. So anybody that needs help should just stop in and we'll get them squared away.
To adapt to COVID-19, the Family Pantry of Cape Cod has adopted a new way of serving their clients.
So you'll come to the pantry. There is an office in a construction trailer outside now. You'll go to the construction trailer office and tell the volunteer that you are a new client. They will give you a brief form that has basically just name, address, phone number, email, number of people in your household. You'll fill that out. They'll also give you a deli number, and they will give you a shopping list. And you will go back to your car, fill out the registration, fill out the shopping list, telling us what you would like. and then you bring it back to that same office. When we call your deli number, your order will be ready. So that shopping list goes inside the building. We have volunteers that shop your order, and then we roll it out to the curb, and then it goes into your car and off you go.
And to protect clients and volunteers and reduce the likelihood of spreading coronavirus, the Family Pantry no longer accepts direct food donations from the public. But that doesn't mean they aren't accepting help.
It's all about finances. So, cash is king. And the nice thing is we can buy more with your dollar than you can because of our relationship with the Greater Boston Food Bank. So we can buy 4 meals for $1. You would be very hard pressed to do that in your retail environment. So, a dollar with us will go a lot further than $1 with you. So that hopefully is a little bit of incentive. But right now, all we can take is a financial contribution.
The Family Pantry is open several days a week and allows clients to visit twice a month.
Let us provide the food, and then that might free up some of your funds, to pay a utility bill or help pay the rent or whatever it is that you're facing.
To learn more about the Family Pantry of Cape Cod or to make a donation, visit thefamilypantry.com. In Harwich, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson. The Family Pantry is open to all on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. For a complete list of times and guidelines, or to donate, visit thefamilypantry.com. In 2016, voters in Massachusetts voted to legalize marijuana for recreational adult use. The following year, the Cannabis Control Commission was created to honor the will of the voters by safely, equitably, and effectively implementing laws enabling access to medical and recreational marijuana throughout the Commonwealth. Recently, the Cannabis Control Commission held several policy discussions around the creation of a limited and wholesale delivery license, licenses that would allow existing dispensaries and cultivators of cannabis to employ marijuana delivery drivers. We met with the Massachusetts Cannabis Business Association to learn more about the impact these licenses would have on the cannabis industry. Cape Media News reports. Hi, you're watching Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. I'm here today with David O'Brien, President and CEO of Massachusetts Cannabis Business Association. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Gabrielle. Great to be with you.
Absolutely. So for our viewers who may not know, can you briefly tell us about the Massachusetts Cannabis Association?
Sure. We were started back in December of 2017, knowing that we were going to have a recreational cannabis marketplace here. And we were really set up to bring together the entrepreneurs that were going to be in the space, the related professionals, the allied organizations, the advocates, to really just support the responsible and equitable growth of the cannabis industry in our state. And we convene and we work with advocates and operators alike to speak in a singular voice for the economic, political, and social issues that impact our members. And we're building a network that really is about sharing best practices, fostering the meaningful relationships in the space, and creating opportunities for success for everybody in it that wants to be an operator or an ancillary service provider.
Wonderful. I know recently the Massachusetts Cannabis Commission has been discussing 2 new policies around 2 delivery licenses that would enable vendors of cannabis to deliver their products. Can you tell me a little bit more about those?
Sure. So in essence, this is not a new topic. It's just new that it's going to be passing or being voted on finally at the commission. They talked about this a couple of years ago and said, let's put off the delivery license until we are up and running a little bit more robustly as an industry. So they're going to be voting on final regulations, including this delivery license category, on November 30th. And the regulations will include 2 new delivery licenses, limited delivery licenses. So the best way to think about these is one is going to be called a courier model. So think of that as an Uber Eats, and they would deliver cannabis products from a dispensary, so a retail shop, to consumers. The other one is an operator who will have a cannabis delivery operator who will have the opportunity to have basically a warehouse, a supply that they will also be allowed to deliver to communities.
Wonderful. And I know the Massachusetts Cannabis Business Association has been very vocal in support of these licenses. What economic and social impacts would these licenses have here in Massachusetts?
Yeah, so interestingly, this category was discussed, as I said, about 2 or 3 years ago by the commission. And at that time, one of the sort of stakes in the ground that they decided on was to make sure that both of these, whatever delivery license they were going to come up with and put in regulations, it was only going to be available to minority applicants and those who have come through the social equity or economic empowerment programs, both of which the Cannabis Control Commission runs. So it oftentimes may involve communities of applicants from communities of color, people with who've been harmed by the war on drugs, arrest records, or their family members have had that. And it's really about giving a head start to that license category or that applicant category to get into this one license type. It tends to be a lower startup cost to get into this sort of a license type, because if you're opening up just a standalone retail, that can be $1 million plus to open. If you're opening up a cultivation, that can be multiple millions. This license, they believe, is going to be less expensive to get started up, and they want to help grow this industry by having those that have not had the opportunity to participate. Remember, in early November, we hit the 1 billion, that's with a B, in sales in Massachusetts in just 2 years of being open for adult use sales. So this is an opportunity for the commission to say, this was in our ballot question, it was in the enabling legislation in 2017, and it's going to be in our regulations, and we're going to pass it.
What, if any, arguments have you heard against these licenses?
Yeah, so a couple of concerns. On the warehouse model, the big concern for everybody in the space is sort of an Amazon approach, that someone will come in, stand up a really large grow, which there are limits, caps on how much of a cultivation you can have in Massachusetts, but some companies are already here doing it up to 100,000 square feet of canopy. So they're worried that some big operator will come in, bypass all the retail, and just basically gut the retail system. There are also worries that have been raised about delivery being able to be allowed to banned communities. I know on Cape Cod, there are many banned communities for any license type. If you're a banned community for all things cannabis, you're not going to, the commission is writing these regulations such that you won't be able to deliver either license, either of the delivery license types. You won't be able to deliver to those communities. So in both that case and the Amazon worries, the commission is writing regulations as we speak to vote on for at the 30th to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because they didn't spend the last couple of years setting up a retail model only to tear it down. They're going to factor that into the regulations. They're right.
Understandable. Now, if the licenses are approved on November 30th, how soon could customers expect to see the people delivering cannabis?
Yeah, my guess is probably first quarter of next year, because they're going to have to put application processes together and that sort of thing. So my guess is it'll take a couple of months to get up and getting that out to folks. But there's already interest by entrepreneurs who want to set up these licenses. Many of the social equity and economic empowerment applicants have been pre-certified by the commission. So the commission has them in the queue, sort of ready to go in a sort of temporary or a pre-approval process. So presuming they have the application process out and people get through it, it can take several months to get through that as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, David O'Brien, again, for joining us. How can people learn more about the Massachusetts Cannabis Business Association?
Great question, and thank you for letting me do the plug. Look us up at masscba.com.
Wonderful. Thanks again. The Cannabis Control Commission plans to vote on this issue at a policy meeting on November 30th. To learn more, visit mass-cannabis-control.com. Up next, inside the second annual Great Cape Turkey Takeout.
The world is talking about coronavirus, but it's hard to know what to listen to. We have answers to your questions like, who's most at risk for coronavirus? People over 65. People with underlying medical conditions like heart disease, chronic lung disease, asthma, diabetes, people undergoing cancer treatment, and people with weakened immune systems. What should you do if you or a loved one is at higher risk? Avoid close contact with people. Avoid crowds. Stay home if you can. Wash your hands frequently. Learn more ways to protect yourself and others at coronavirus.gov. Together, we can help stop the spread.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. The COVID-19 pandemic has put a strain on finances for many Americans. Around the holidays, the cost of food can feel like just one more financial burden. If you can relate, you don't have to struggle alone or think about foregoing Thanksgiving this year, because the Cape Cod Culinary Incubator, along with support from CAM Appliances, is cooking 70 Thanksgiving meals for Barnstable and Yarmouth families in an event they call the second annual Great Cape Turkey Takeout. Emily Tulloch reports.
Feeding America estimates that before the COVID-19 pandemic, more than 35 million people lived in a food-insecure household. Now, in 2020, a global health and economic crisis has caused that number to rise. For locals in need of food assistance for Thanksgiving, the Cape Cod Culinary Incubator, a nonprofit on a mission to empower culinary entrepreneurship across Cape Cod, is hosting their second annual Great Cape Turkey Takeout. This event provides 50 fully cooked Thanksgiving meals to Barnstable residents and is put on through the power of community. Last year, the Cape Cod Culinary Incubator, in partnership with CAM Appliances, fed 50 families in Barnstable for Thanksgiving through the Great Cape Turkey Takeout. So this year, you're planning on feeding 70 families in Barnstable and Yarmouth. So can you tell us what drew you to hosting this event for the community and what preparation goes into hosting it?
So what drew us is a partnership with CAM Appliance. A couple of years ago, we had some conversations with them where they invited us to be able to work with our chefs to come in and use the kitchens that are set up, the sort of demo kitchens that are set up in the appliance store. They're all live kitchens, and we could do some cooking classes in there. And they're very community minded, so they wanted to make sure that they had people in and doing things for the community. But as part of that, they said, we would really like to do something around Thanksgiving for the community. And we put our heads together to figure out what that it is. We spoke to a number of different organizations in and around town and asked about Thanksgiving and specifically in what they had done, actually reached out to some churches. They came back and said, do the community and yourself a favor. Around Thanksgiving, a lot of people, of course, are very generous. They want to help the community, and it's great. But we wind up with a ton of food, and in many cases, we're providing, I'm going to call it raw food or uncooked food, in large quantities and giving it to families. So people don't always know what to do with all that, and it's too much food for a family. In some cases, the people that could really use it don't have the same kitchen that you and I would envision, and don't have all the facilities to store all that or refrigerate it, and maybe not even a stove. So do yourself a favor and provide cooked meals that they could enjoy the tradition and the holiday. Now the challenge in the preparation comes in the fact it's easy to say, yes, let's go do this and get all gung-ho, but then you realize you're serving a meal or providing these dinners on one day a year, and you got 50 of them. And you got 50 turkeys, and you got 50 quarts of potatoes, and you got 50 quarts of squash, and 50 pints of gravy, and you got to get it all cooked at the same time, and my kitchen's not big enough. So that's where CAM, of course, came in, and in the store, they have, I think it's 23 ovens and stoves set up that they are able to turn live. So they put a bunch of chefs in there, we got turkeys, and away we went to cook them.
So you're also partnering with other local businesses on Cape Cod that are going to be providing various aspects of the meal. Can you tell us what your experience has been like with collaboration and why it's so important?
I think it's important for two reasons. Number one is, what we're doing here is not something for us, it's for the community. And when you think about what we're all involved with, we're all part of this community and we're helping others in our community. It can't be just a one organization initiative or one company initiative. It's got to be broader than that. And you've got to encourage partners and bring partners into the fold, because not every individual restaurant is going to be able to think about providing a full meal like this or go out and get it done, but they'll be happy to participate if you can, help get it organized and help drive it and all that. And we think it's important to get a number of different organizations and companies and businesses participating so that they have a say in it. And in fact, we get great ideas from all of them.
So if our viewers want to get involved or perhaps donate to the cause, where can they find out more information?
Right. So on our webpage, capeculinary.org, there is a section about Thanksgiving and our second annual Thanksgiving Great Cape Turkey Takeout. So there's a donate button on there, and we're suggesting a donation of $50 will feed a family of 4. We're providing the meals already cooked. They just have to heat it up and warm it up.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and best of luck with the second annual Great Cape Turkey Takeout. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
For Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tellick.
If you'd like to learn more or want to sponsor a Thanksgiving meal this season, visit capeculinary.org. Well, that brings this episode of Cape Media News to a close. Please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. And thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next time with a brand new episode. With Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.